Hey everybody, this is Steve from PopCultureMaven.com. We're back with this week's new comic book reviews. Not too big of a week. Pretty decent week. There's a few things, unfortunately, I missed this week. The comic shop's getting them late. They happen sometimes, now that there's like 4 or 5 distributors practically. So we'll do a little catch up next week on those. But just wanted to give everybody heads up that Free Comic Book Day is coming up on May 4th, Saturday, May 4th. It's always the first Saturday of May. And we will be doing, I will be doing a review of the Free Comic Book Days, and I'm still working on them. Haven't gotten them all yet. Hopefully, we'll get that up as soon as we can. We have to get almost all the titles, and then we'll go through them. But I did want to give you a sneak peek of two of the probably the biggest ones. We have the DC Absolute Power, and then the Energon universe from Skybound. Those are going to be really hot books. I can tell you right now. But anyways, so we'll get the review up as soon as we get all the books and everything. I think we've gotten them all so far. There may be a few strays, but we'll get that, and we'll get the review up so we can get that up before Free Comic Book Day, so you can kind of figure out what what's the new stuff, what's the reprint stuff, what's kind of preview stuff. We always break it down into categories, so that way you have an idea of what to look for and which ones to pick up at your local comic shop on local comic or Free Comic Book Day. So with that being said, let's get to the reviews. This week's reviews. First up, we have Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives, #1, written by Dan Watters and Ram V, with artwork by Matthew Roberts. Excuse me. So this takes place after the original Creature from the Black Lagoon Universal film. And what it is journalist Kate Marsden has gone to the Amazon looking for the creature because of reports there and everything. So it's really, it's a setup about, her trying to find the creature. And, there's obviously, people in the Amazon know about the creature, because, like the mythology and stuff like that, and, so, it's definitely a setup. I mean, does it help if you've seen the original film? Probably. I think you can read it on its own. I mean, as long as you know the Creature from the Black Lagoon. I'm definitely give Waters and Ram V props for setting it up, giving you what you need to know for the creature and kind of the somewhat of the past. They don't go to too much detail about the film, but I did like the fact that it's kind of original. The thing I struggled a little bit with the Dracula book was it was kind of just an adaptation of the original movie, which is all nice and everything, but it didn't have as much new stuff, where this is really kind of like new, and not necessarily just like the sequel or that they made that really didn't have much to do with the original. It was just like, oh, we have this suit, let's make another Creature from the Black Lagoon. I really did like Robert's artwork. It's really nice and everything. And I also like the fact that within the story and the art, you kind of don't really see the creature that much. He's kind of just in the background and everything. And I really like it. It gives it a nice creepy feel visually that the book definitely excels at, from Ram V's and Waters' script. I really like it. This is the second of the Universal monster films that have come to comics. Just to let everybody know that from what I am to understand, that after the miniseries is done, they will release a hardcover of the books. Now, obviously, the Dracula one is the first one to be coming, but they will do hardcovers. So if you kind of want to wait until it's finished, they are going to collect them in hardcovers. But I really did enjoy this first issue. It was a really good, solid first issue. And I'm a sucker for the Universal monster, so it's definitely well worth checking out this week. Next up, we have Batman Dark Age #2, written by Mark Russell with artwork by Michael Allred. So what this is kind of, hopefully you've read the first issue because it was really good. This is kind of a retelling of Batman's story, but kind of in a different vein where his parents get killed and everything, but he, Bruce Wayne kind of basically grows up as a spoiled rich brat. Instead of becoming, Batman, he in the first issue, he gets framed for a murder and then he ends up going to jail because what it is Wayne Tech has been taken over by the board and the Pharaoh. So he's trying to trying to change history. So Bruce is in jail. It's 1965, and of course, they hire goons to kill him in prison. It doesn't work out. So in '66, he gets sent to Vietnam to be part of the war. But it's not just like he's just not a grunt. He actually gets sent to a special unit run by Ra's al Ghul, and so that's how he basically learns to become Batman. That's how he's trained. And the interesting thing that Russell does here is one of the other fellow guys is Oliver Queen, so he puts Oliver Queen in there, which is a nice touch. And there's they make notes that Superman is around. There's a scene with Lois Lane, and Superman is obviously going to become part of the story going forward. And then what it is, and then in 1968 he comes back to Gotham and, starts to become Batman. So even though we didn't see really Batman much in the first issue, because, Russell was setting everything up, we kind of get to see him at the end of this issue. This is really a good book. This is, from the same wonderful team that did Superman Space Age. And y'all know that I'm a huge fan of Mark Russell. He really does a great job here. And I like the fact that, he's retelling the story in a different way, but still keeping, what makes Batman and Bruce Wayne and all the other characters, so great. I mean, we get to see Commissioner Gordon a little bit in this, kind of this issue. He's the good cop. Continuing, we saw a lot of Alfred in the first issue. We see a little bit in this issue. But I like how he's mixing it up and kind of changing it around, but not trying to reinvent the wheel. That's what that's what you always have to be careful of, is when you do these things. You don't break what's not broken. So, and Russell's definitely not doing it. And then you have Michael Allred's gorgeous artwork. He is really, they're like peanut butter and jelly when it really comes to this book. They are just so perfect together, and I'm a huge fan of Mike Allred, his Madman and all the other tons of stuff that he's done over the years. Silver Surfer, Ecstatic, and this is just a must buy book. It really is that spectacular, and definitely, once again, must buy book this week. Just go buy it. And if you haven't bought the first issue, shame on you. Go buy the first issue too. Next up, we have Man's Best, number 2, written by Pornsak Pichot, with artwork by Jesse Longergan. So what it is there was a spaceship looking for, a planet. It crashes. And what it is one of the scientists, she has three animals, a cat and 2 dogs that have been, they have special powers. And so once, in the first issue they crash, and now they're trying to find the captain and the scientist and everything. They're trying to find him on this planet that they've crashed on, and this planet has these like robots that are trying to kill him. So you have Athos the cat, then you have Portos the dog, and his power is the shield, and then you have Lovey the other dog. He has a rocket pack, so that's how you tell them all apart. And so this issue, while they're trying to find them, the robots are attacking them, but really the crux of this issue is them trying to work together as a team, because in the first issue, there were simulations, but they always struggled to like work together as a team. And so now they've been thrust into this adventure, and they're not working well as a team, so they're trying to get it all together, and it's kind of working but not working, because Athos is kind of the leader, she's struggling with, like, she wants to do the right thing, but it's hard because they haven't had a lot of practice at this, and then they've been thrust into this chaos. The other interesting thing that the story does in this issue is they end up going through this portal and end up in this other world. And it's like, whoa, that really like changed the story, because they're on this desolate planet run by robots who are trying to kill them, and then they fall into a wormhole to another planet. It's like, whoa, what, and that was really I have to give Pichot, that was really a great twist on this issue, because I think if we would have just had them on this planet, it would have been, okay, that's nice, okay, they're gonna find the people, blah blah blah. And with this twist, it really changes it, with the way I think the story might go. So I really love that. And Lonergan's artwork is really nice. He does a really good job. It kind of has a bit of a storybook kind of visual quality in a way, not exactly, but especially with like the animals, but it's not like it kind of is and kind of isn't like a storybook type artwork, but I really love it, and it really fits the story so perfectly. It's just really an interesting book, and we've seen a number of animal books lately. There's another one coming up later in the reviews, but I really like what Pichot and Lonergan doing here with Man's Best, and it's still well worth checking out. I really like it. Next up, we have Dick Tracy #1, written by Alex Segura and Michael Morsi, with artwork by Gerardo Borges. So this is a new take on Dick Tracy, but it's set in 1947, so it's kind of set, it's post World War II. And what it is there's Emil Trueheart. He's a city alderman, and he meets at this diner with this reporter, London Marsh, because he knows something that's going on in the city, and he wants to, like, kind of clear his conscience. And then what it is the mob does a hit on both of them. So Dick Tracy comes in, he's the detective on the case trying to figure out what's going on. And, he sees that it's kind of like a mob hit. And then Trueheart's daughter, Tess, she wants to find out what's going on. She knows that her father, he was onto something. There was something going on, and he discovered it. And so, Dick Tracy, is trying to find out, what's going on. He runs across Flat Top and Mumbles in the story, so we get to see two of the, classic Dick Tracy villains. But what I like about this, I mean, Dick Tracy's a really good character. I think, his it's always kind of struggled in comics and somewhat. I mean, there was IDW did a couple really good miniseries. There was a Mike Allred one, and I think there was Michael Avon Oeming did one. And those were actually quite good. But I like what Segura and Morsi are doing here. I mean, I think keeping Dick Tracy in the period of, say, like the 40s, I think it's the wisest idea. And plus, I mean, he has such a great cast of, bad guys. And I like how they're slowly bringing it in, not just like, they're kind of creating mythology here and kind of a mystery. And I like how, they're not going for kind of the cliche of the Dick Tracy, what it could be. And I think that's kind of the smart. They're doing it like, kind of like a noirish murder mystery kind of novel. And I think that's the right approach here. Borges' art is nice. There's a few times where there weren't many backgrounds, but it wasn't overall, I think, it's a minor complaint, but it does have a nice look, captures the feel of the period, kind of has a gritty look to it. So I think it's worth checking out. I mean, we'll kind of see how the second issue goes, but I liked what I saw here in the first issue, and I think even if you're kind of familiar with Dick Tracy, it's worth checking out. Next up, we have Ultimate Spider-Man #4, written by Jonathan Hickman with artwork by David Messina. Now, just to let everybody know that Messina is going to do a couple fill-in issues, and they're very adamant that Marco Cicchetto is coming back. He'll be back in for issue 6. So 4 and 5 are drawn by different artists. So don't worry, Cicchetto's going to be back. Just want to throw that out. But what's interesting is, so this issue is really just kind of a character study of Peter and MJ, and then now because he's met up with the Green Goblin, which is Harry Osborn. So Harry invites them to dinner. So they go out to dinner, and then we find out that Gwen Stacy is Harry's wife. So now we have all the players in place and everything. And so they kind of go to dinner, and obviously Harry and Peter know each other's secrets, but he hasn't told MJ yet what's going on. And so also there's going to be Mary, MJ, and Gwen might be working together because of with the newspaper starting with Ben and Jonah Jameson. So they might be involved with that, and then of course there's the Harry and Peter know each other. So it's very a dialogue heavy issue, but it really has a lot. But it really moves the story forward as far as character development, which is really good. And then Messina's artwork is nice. He does a lot of the 9-panel thing, which I don't know that it always works. It's a tough thing to be able to pull off, and I think it works pretty well, but I don't know that it was always the right approach, but that's just my opinion. The art is actually quite nice, and he does a really good job of basically drawing people talking. So I always say if an artist can draw people talking and you find it interesting, then it works. And Messina does that here. So it's even though I wouldn't consider it a fill-in issue because Hickman's still building this kind of world. But I'm still really digging the book, and like I said, Messina does a nice job on the artwork. We'll see him, next issue, and then Cicchetto will be back. I still think it's well worth checking out. I'm really surprised how much I really like what Hickman is doing here with the book. So definitely continue to check it out. Next up, we have Duke number 5, written by Joshua Williamson with artwork by Tom Riley. So this is the final issue of this miniseries. So, and we know last month, a bit of a spoiler, but you've had a month to figure it out, that Destro is involved, and he's captured Duke, and he's basically, doing the twisting of the mustache and saying, I'm going to take over the world. They have these robots that I've built. And so, that's pretty much what this is. And so that they find out that they've discovered that where Duke is, and they have to blow up the hideout. And so Destro has the robot try to kill Duke. That doesn't work out well for the robot because Duke, he's just the hero. I don't want to really give it away any more, but it definitely ends this story, but there's definitely more to come down the pike with the mythology that they're doing in this Energon universe. I've really enjoyed this. I've had a lot of fun with this story, and I'm not a big G.I. Joe fan. I mean, it's okay and everything, but I'm not like, oh my God, G.I. Joe. But Williamson and Riley's done a really good job, and really Riley just has done such a nice job on the artwork. He really, just brings Williamson's script to life, and it's really been a fun book. So this being the last issue, it's probably gonna be maybe a little tough to get it, but they have announced that there will be trades of all the Energon, Void Rivals, Transformers. They are first volumes of those are coming out soon, and Duke will be collected too. So there's more miniseries that are coming in the G.I. Joe universe. So I really like what they're doing with this Energon stuff, and once again Williamson and Riley just really did a great job of making an entertaining G.I. Joe book, not only for fans of the characters and stuff, but I think it was really greatly acceptable, for new readers, to kind of come in who may not know a lot of this story. They've done a really good job, so definitely check it out. Next up, we have Spectrograph number 1, written by James Tinian IV, with artwork by Christian Ward. So what this is it's kind of a haunted house type story. Um, so there's this rich guy who has this mansion, and he was into the occult and paranormal. And what it is he spent a bunch of his money and everything to build this house. It's basically um, it's like a machine, there's codes to get into the doors and stuff. So what it is Jane, she's a real estate agent, and she's kind of, scatterbrain. That's the best way to say it. And she's gone, she's running late to the thing, and she's left her. So part of the story is she's left her baby in the high chair, and like, I need to go to this because we need the money and everything. And she calls her friend. Her friend's like, well, I can't go with the baby. So there's that thing going on that she's abandoned her baby at the house. And so she gets to the mansion, and there's these really weird, like goth people that are like, she doesn't talk to them. She talks to this lady who's like overseeing the purchase. So they go into the mansion, and they end up kind of, tripping something, and it gets weird, and there's like ghosts now in the mansion. And so that's the basic premise here. It's I liked it. I hate to somewhat say this. This is kind of a typical MO for a Tinian story. Now, I'm not saying that it's bad or anything, but it's kind of like, it's very similar to Nice House on the Lake, and stuff like that. It's which is not necessarily a bad thing. I just think that I liked it. I just didn't quite love this first issue. I will say Ward's artwork is just gorgeous. He did the recent Batman Black Label book, which is really, really good. I just, this is a pure, it's the first issue is a setup. So, we'll kind of see, where it goes in the second issue. But it's basically a haunted house story. That's, but and then there's something going on with the people that were going to buy, that wanted to buy it. So we don't know what's going on with them. And it's just, it's I think it's a very interesting story. It's just that, like, we've kind of see this from Tinian before. So I think, once again, I think the next issue is going to be, okay, where are you going to take this? Where is this going to feel any different? So we'll see, but I think it's still worth checking out. Cause it's got a good story. It's got, the artwork's fantastic. But I think we'll kind of see where it goes from this first issue. Like I said, I liked it. I just didn't quite love it in this first issue. So hopefully they'll change my mind in the next issue. Next up, we have Feral #2, written by Tony Fleece, with artwork by Trish Forstner and Tone Rodriguez. So, once again, these domestic cats were being transported to the to the facility. The truck crashed. They get out. They end up in the woods, and there's a this rabies plague that's going on. So they're trying to navigate their way through the forest as domestic cats, and they don't kind of know what to do. And so there's a couple of kind of feral cats, stray cats that say, hey, we'll help you try, because if we get to the river, they won't cross the river and stuff. And so, it's kind of an adventure of them trying to get away from the rabid animals, the wolves and the dogs and everything, because there's this like plague going through the forest. So that's really what this issue is. It's kind of, it builds on the first issue, post them in the crash and everything. It goes along nicely. What Fleece is doing here, he's building the story. So, it kind of makes sense that the second issue is just kind of a continuation of the first issue. Now this is an ongoing series, so we'll see. I talked to Tony at WonderCon, and he's got plans for multiple story arcs in this, but we're seeing this first story arc. And then Forrester and Rodriguez do a really wonderful job on the artwork. It's kind of, once again, it's kind of a Disney animated Don Bluth-ish kind of visuals in this horror story. This is the same team who did Stray Dogs. So it kind of has that same vibe, but it's very different because, not so much because it's cats compared to dogs. It's just a different type of story. I'm liking what it's doing. I like how Fleece is building on the first issue, continuing it really nicely here. And once again, the artwork by Forrester and Rodriguez is really nice. Still well worth checking out. I'm really digging what he's doing with these like horror animal books. Like cute animals and horror books, and it's fun. We'll see how he progresses with the story, continuing in the next few issues. And finally, this week we have Pine and Merrimac number 4, written by Kyle Starks with artwork by Fran Galan. So what this is so they've discovered the cult, they've infiltrated the cult last issue, and then they were found out that they were they witnessed a sacrifice, and so they know that these women have been kidnapped. They know that they're being sacrificed, but they don't know kind of who's behind this in this small town. So they're trying to unravel this mystery. And it's like, well, they do escape, but then they have to go back because they're trying to figure it out. And there's a big twist at the end that I will not give away, but it might change where this story is going. I'm really digging this book a lot. I think the big thing that I love what Stark is doing is that you have this married couple that actually like love each other and work together well. You don't see that very often in any, kind of, comics, movies or anything. They always they always hate each other or everything. But I like the fact that they have a good marriage and they actually work well together. It's kind of amazing. And then Galan's artwork is really, really nice. I mean, this issue is kind of like, somewhat in the, last couple of issues, kind of middle issues of the story where, it's moving along. And that's the thing, you need to move it along, but still keep, like what is working well. And like I said, this issue really has some really good stuff, because we're starting to kind of find out about the cult, but we still don't know, like, the big reveal and everything. So we're waiting for that, but I really am enjoying this series quite a bit. And definitely it's well worth picking up. Hopefully, I know this is a 4th issue. It might be tough to find the first 3, but I'm really enjoying it. So hopefully you've been picking it up and checking it out. That's going to do it this week. Like I said, there's a couple books that were late shipping, so we'll do those next week, and we'll pick those up. But as always, I get all my comics at Pulp Fiction Comics, Long Beach, California. Ryan Skinner, the owner, runs a great store. There's Wendy, there's Annie, Derek runs their social media. It's a really great comic shop. They offer discounts on their trades and graphic novels. They have a nice manga selection, a good all ages section. They have a section for local artists for comics and prints and things. It's really nice. It's just a really good, solid comic store. And as always, support your local comic shop. They're the backbone of the industry. Make sure when you order stuff, pick it up on time, because they have to buy it before you do. So make sure you pick them up on a timely basis and don't leave them in the lurch. So, definitely support your local comic shop. And once again, on Free Comic Book Day, comic shops have to pay for the free comics. It's a nominal fee, but they still have to pay for them. So make sure that when you go to your comic shop for Free Comic Book Day, please buy some other stuff from your comic shop, because they like I said, they do have to pay for the comics. They're not free to them. They're free to you, but make sure when you do Free Comic Book Day, buy some comics at the store. And as always, we end our show with be kind to each other. Be kind to yourself. I know things are really rough out there. Trust me, I get it. There's been layoffs at my job. It's really rough out there for a lot of people, and just try to take care of yourself. That's very important. But also being kind to others is really just can help you, and it helps them. Just kindness goes a long way. So being kind to yourself and being kind to others is really important right now. Because I know, a lot of it's really rough out there. So just take care of yourselves. That's really the most important part. That's going to do it this week. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll get the free comic book day video up very soon. Like I said, we still got a few, some of the books still have not quite shown up yet. But we'll get everything together and we'll get those reviews out before free comic book day. So that's going to do it this week. As always, please like and share our YouTube videos. We've had a lot of new subscribers lately. That's great. Comments are welcome. Any ideas or anything, I will try to do my best to help and help with those comments. So that's going to do it. This is Steven from popculturemaven.com signing off. We'll do it again next week. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves and just enjoy comics. Take care. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.